Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Food Network's Food Around the World. It's been said that food sometimes means survival, but sometimes cooking and eating can mean pastime and pleasure. Humans, as citizens of the world, should know about food globally. We here at Food Network will honor that fact by putting on this show. Hi folks, my name is George Tangen, your host for this primetime delicacy of culture and cuisine. Enough about me, let's get on to the show. The food around the world is vast, different, and delicious. Tonight, we will explore standard meals from a few countries, including appealing appetizers, enticing entrees, and delectable desserts. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. First up on our tour of the world tonight, we have Sweden, with the toastiest, tastiest, and sweetest foods. Now let's welcome out our Swedish chef, not from the Muppets, but Chef Camilla Oskarsson.
Hej allihopa och välkommen till Sverige! So, my name is Camilla Oskarsson and I saw it only fitted for me to talk about food from Sweden. Now, Sweden here is a very long country as you can see, so the food differs a little bit depending where you're from. The webpage Livsmedelsverket from last updated 2015 would say that Sweden is famous for dairy products, different kinds of bread, smörgåsbord. However, I decided to handpick some options that you would probably see more on a daily basis. So what I'm gonna do is welcome you all in to my Swedish restaurant here in America, where will be serving you different kinds of dishes, so you know a little bit what to expect from Swedish food if you ever go there. Now, I think, I will give you some background history on some of them, but not all, because that would make the speech too long. But I think maybe you are all hungry, so let's start with the appetizers. This is the so-called toastskagen, and this is, according to Svenska Dagbladet, 2014, an online webpage news article. This is invented by a man called Tore Bretman for 1916, and he was a man who wanted to change the food culture in Sweden, making going to a restaurant not something that all people could do, and not only the elite. Now, the second appetizers I have for you, it's not that different, but it's still a different appetizer in Sweden. Also very famous. It has the shrimp as the first one, but this has some eggs and salad also. But let's move on to the main courses. So here we have pea soup and pancakes, maybe an odd combination, but it's a tradition that stretches all the way back to the 13th century in Swedish history, according to Aftonbladet from 2015, an online newspaper article. And our second meal I will serve you is Swedish meatballs with lingonberries, and this is something I found in the book Our Beloved Sweden, written by Martin and Lorenz from 1996. And if you ever want to try this, you can find it in one of the 5 department stores, IKEA, that you have here in Sweden. And we'll serve you this in a Swedish traditional manner. But who's up for some desserts? So here we have semlor, and this is actually my favorite dessert. It has the cardamom flavored bun with whipped cream inside and almond paste in them. And this has like its own day in Sweden where you eat them. It's a tradition that's called Fettistisdag. It's actually translated in Fat Tuesday in English, but the blog post Jönköpings Läns Museum from 2012 says that this is something Swedish Catholics ate before going on a 6-week-long period of fasting. And so this is something, as I said, has its own day, but you can buy them all year round now. And the second dessert I have for you is saffron buns. And this is something we eat around Christmas. The spice that makes from the beautiful color is saffron. And I hope you all have enjoyed your meal here in my Swedish restaurant. And the check will say the following: you had for appetizers, you had the toast skagen and shrimp toast. For main course, you had pea soup and pancakes and meatballs and cream sauce and lingonberries. And for desserts, you had semla and saffron buns. And these meals were intended for you to know a little bit more of what to expect coming to Sweden. Thank you.
Well, folks, let's give a big round of applause to Chef Camilla. Next up, folks, we'll be flying a little bit south to the land of pretzels, beer, and where you say, Ich bin ein Berliner. We're going to go to Germany with Chef Holger Stromberg.
Hallo, guten Tag. I'm Chef Holger Stromberg of Germany, one of Germany's most famous chefs currently. If you go to my website, holgerstromberg.de, and go to my Vita page, you'll find that I am Germany's youngest Michelin star chef. And I achieved this through many of my restaurants cooking traditional German style food. Cooking, personally, is a big part of my life. I grew up eating some food from my Mutter, which is mother in German, that I still cook in my restaurants today. It's who I am, and I couldn't imagine life without traditional German style cooking. So now today, we're going to go through a three-course meal involving appetizers, entrees, and desserts, all surrounded from different parts of Germany that are all traditional food that have been around for centuries. First, I chose all of my food from today from a cookbook, a traditional style German cookbook titled The Wine and Food Society, Guide to German Cookery. I suggest that all of you get it. It was published in 1967 by Hans Adam. And it's a great way to learn how to cook in German. First, of course, we have Brezel, which is pretzel, and it has been around forever. It came to fame because of Oktoberfest, and is traditionally eaten with Weizel, with cheese, and of course accompanied by our national drink, beer. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Rostbratwurst, and that comes from a region in central East Germany of Thüringen, and it has some of the best ham, salt, pepper, nutmeg, and caraway that gives it a very distinct taste. Next, we move on to our main dish, and this is pronounced Kornfleisch, which is silver-sided beef, a very expensive cut of beef, and it is from Freistadt-Bayern or Bavaria, more commonly known. And they take great pride in cooking their beef to perfection. It makes it a very distinct taste, and they don't try and season it too much because they want it just to be the meat. And for all you vegetarians out there, we have Himmel und Erde, which stands for heaven on earth. It's a strange combination. You might think strange, of apple and potatoes, but the starchiness and the sweetness makes it taste like nothing else, and it really is heaven on earth. Finally, our third course is going to be our dessert. And in the top right-hand corner, we have a Berliner, which is a fried dough ball with jelly inside of it. Many European countries have a similar thing, and all of them are very good. I personally think the Berliner is best of all, though. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Frankfurter Kranz. Frankfurter Kranz stands for Frankfurt Wreath. It's a vanilla cake with vanilla buttercream, and around the edges is all almond. It's very delicious and a great way to end your meal. So, in summary, we had our three-course meal of all traditional German food, and I hope that it has convinced you to come to Germany, come to one of my restaurants, and try some of this very delicious food. Auf Wiedersehen, danke schön, which is goodbye and thank you.
Thank you to Chef Stromberg. Next up, folks, we will be sailing across the Atlantic to our neighbors to the north, Canada. You might think that Canada is going to be very similar to us, as they are culturally they're pretty similar. However, they do have a few unique foods that we here at Food Network thought that we should touch on. Let's welcome out just a boot, the best chef in Canada, Chef Roger Mooking.
Thank you, George. So, my name is Roger Mooking, and before I begin, when you think of Canada and food from Canada, how many of us just think of bacon and maple syrup? So quite a few of us, and I'm here to tell you that Canada has so much more to offer than just bacon and maple syrup, even though that is a pretty good part of the diet there. And since we're only about 2 hours away, I figured that we would all make the trip up there somehow, some way, eventually. And I'm here to tell you what you should come to expect when you go to a restaurant in Canada. I'll be talking to you about the appetizers, entrees, and desserts, and some background on some of the items. Starting with appetizers, I wanted to start off with a couple of drinks to wash down the food. So first we have the Newfoundland Screech Rum. It's not Newfoundland, it's Newfoundland. And we Canadians get very mad if you say Newfoundland. It got its Screech name because way back in the day, there was trade between Newfoundland and the West Indies, where Newfoundland would give the West Indies fish and the West Indies would give us rum. And a fisherman took a shot of the rum and he made a sound, which another fisherman came to his aid and said, "What was that ungodly sound?" And the fisherman said, "It was this rum." And so that's how the Newfoundland Screech Rum came to be. If you don't want the Newfoundland Screech Rum, I have the Caesar for you, which, according to Patel and Siboney in a 2013 online article for the Huffington Post Canada, and also according to the Herbst brothers, as they are known, in their book, A New Wine Lover's Companion in 2003, the Caesar is Canada's favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinner drink. So you can have it pretty much anytime you want. Now for the appetizers, of course, I had to put poutine on there. That's like the most famous thing you could have up in Canada. And it's French fries, gravy, and cheese, but it didn't always have cheese in it. Way back in the day, in like the 20th century, there was a person who asked the waiter to put cheese on there, and the waiter at first hesitated because it would make too much of a mess, but later on he did it, and that's why it's what we know now. Also, you could have ham, brie, and apple wontons, which is pretty much what it sounds like. There's ham, brie, cheese, and apple in the wonton. So after you had a little taste of that, we would move on to entrees. So you would have game meat, which would include your reindeer, venison, boar, rabbit, pretty much anything that people would game for. Also, you would have tortilla, which is a savory and spiced meat pie from Quebec, and surprisingly, you can only get it in Quebec. So after you filled up on the appetizers and entrees, we have the desserts. Beaver tail, which is not an actual beaver tail, but a fried pastry in the shape of a beaver tail, and you can pretty much put whatever you want on it, like chocolate, powdered sugar, fruit, and candy. And also, if you want to go with something much more lighter, you would go with the butter tart, which is a butter, sugar, eggs tart, really. And you can have nuts in it, and you could have it runny or you could have it firm. So today, I talked to you about Canada and what they have to offer in a typical restaurant up in Canada. Talked to you about the appetizers and drinks. I've talked to you about the entrees and the desserts. So hopefully, when you do make the 2-hour drive up there, you ask for much more than bacon and maple syrup. Thank you.
Finally, folks, we are going to go to the site of this year's Olympics. We're going to go to Brazil. Now, this country will have some of the most unique foods we're going to see tonight, so get ready because these foods are mouth-watering. Let's all welcome out Chef Alex Atala.
All right, so I'd like to start us off with a question. When you guys hear about Brazil, how many of you just think of the Amazon rainforest and the recent Olympics? Any of you? All right. I was afraid that'd be the case. Today I'm going to teach you about the many different types of mouth-watering appetizers, entrees, and desserts we have in Brazil. So, to start off, Brazil is the biggest country in South America, as you guys probably knew this already. So, we're a very predominant country there. And also, we started out as a Portuguese colony, which you will soon find out how important this is when it comes to our food and our culture. So, as I said, I'm Alex Atala, and today I'm going to teach you about the appetizers, entrees, and desserts. So to start us out, we have pão de queijo, and this one, to give you an English translation, it is bread of cheese. That's what it means. Now, this appetizer actually started out from the slavery, or back when we had slaves, and it was a slave's dish where they basically took the starches that they had, because why would you feed slaves? I mean, you just keep on the meat yourself. Which is horrible. But that's basically the conditions they have. So they took the starch and they would cook it. And as a result, it has like a very deep history, a deep part of our history and our culture. As I said, it was originally a starch, and it didn't become have cheese in it, until after the slaves were freed and they actually got access to milk and all the other things that were being held from them while they were slaves. So next, I'm going to talk about coxinha, which is, you guys are going to find this kind of weird, but it's basically a fried chicken thigh is originally what it was. It was originally where you take your standard chicken thigh and you just throw it in the fryer and then serve it. So it was that way for the longest time until back when a chef was feeding, he was in an institute for people with mental health problems. So if a brain developed wrong or something, they would send him there. And he was trying to feed him, and he ran out of chicken thighs. So he's like, all right, well, I'm just going to grind up a whole chicken and then throw it and see what happens. And that actually is what made it the modern coxinha you will find today, which uses ground or chopped or shredded chicken on the inside. So next, this is the best dish you will find here. It's going to be a little weird for you guys in a second. It is the feijoada. That's how it's pronounced. And this is our famous dish in all of Brazil. You can find this in every restaurant in the entire country. It is that predominant. It actually uses the very cheap cuts of meat from a pig, so like pig's ears and like cow tongue, stuff like that, or pig's feet, stuff you would not want to eat is what it uses. I know, it sounds really appetizing. So basically, this is actually found in the Book of Flavors by Brazil. It was originally by Rodrigo Elise. That's the author. Moving on, we're gonna go to the moqueca. Again, all these names are Portuguese, so this is what it is, and it is a fish stew. This was found by BrazilianFoodie.com, and basically, this one was the most recent, or one of the most recent dishes because it was not native to us. It was brought over by Portugal when they brought coconuts and sugarcane over. Now, there's two variants of it. You have the northern version and the southern version, which uses a different coconut and a different oil. Locals say it's so great you can't compare the two. I know it seems weird. They're two different nuts, but it's really great. On to the desserts, we have the brigadeiros, which this one is very popular because it can be eaten for whatever occasion. It is very versatile because, as you can see, it's basically a fudge ball, and that means you can use it as a topping on like a cupcake or eat it as itself, rolled in like chocolate. Crazy, love chocolate. So this one was actually created in the 1940s, which is where it takes the cake for the most recent appetizer we have, or entree that we have in our entire culture. So, next one is Kingdom, which this one is obviously a custard. This one was stuck mainly to the rich people because it requires a lot of eggs, which isn't that popular. This one was found on AmericanFood.com, and it was actually modified in the 17th century because that's when we had the coconut on the bottom. Again, that's when our coconuts came over. That was also when we had sugarcane come over, so it's pretty great. So today, I spoke to you guys about the entrees, appetizers, and desserts we have in Brazil. And I hope when next time you come over, you can expand your horizon with these amazing food that I showed you.
Thank you. One more round of applause for Chef Atala and all of our chefs tonight. Now, folks, we're just about out of time, so we're going to have to wrap it up. Today, we traveled to 4 countries, but there are so many more that you can all go to and see food. I hope that you all found some food that you want to cook or maybe just eat. I know I did. But it was written in 1974 by Chef Girard in a book, The Story of Food. That humans have been around for well over 100,000 years, but only recently have we started cooking and making complex meals. And in such a short amount of time, we've made fantastic progress, and that'll only get better. Thank you from the Food Network, and ladies and gentlemen, good night.